As a child, I had what you could call an inquiring mind. Black was only black and white was only white, if I could actually understand why that was the case. I remember when I was quite young that I went through a phase where I wondered if people and places really existed at all. Could they just be a figment of my imagination? I could see people when we were together. I could interact with them. But were they still there when I was apart from them? Or did they just disappear in some sort of Brigadoon-type mist? Have you read the Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis? They were first published in 1942. The Screwtape Letters pretend to be a collection of letters from a senior devil, Screwtape. He was actually an undersecretary in the lowerarchy. To his subordinate nephew, Wormwood, a very junior tempter. We do not see Wormwood's letters to Screwtape, but the contents can be inferred from Screwtape's replies. Screwtape gives advice to Wormwood on how to secure the damnation of a human, known only as the patient, in the face of the enemy, which of course is God. In one of Screwtape's letters, we read the suggestion that a Christian soul can be brought down by a war of attrition. It is so hard for these creatures to persevere, says Screwtape. Routine adversity, the decay of hope, despair at not overcoming temptation, all slowly wear down a person's faith. But best of all, says Screwtape, is the good dose of shocking reality, such as violence or sudden death. That can make the Christian feel that all his religion has been a fantasy. In other words, make them doubt. When his wife Joy died from cancer, C.S. Lewis reeled from shock. He said that he considered for a while that his faith was a house of cards. He wrote, "Are the things I am believing only a dream? Or do I only dream that I believe them?" Don't you think that's rather similar to my childhood questions about reality? The rock singer Bono once said, "People expect you, as a believer, to have all the answers, when really all you get is just another set of questions." In other words, doubt, uncertainty, they're not rare experience. There's a lot of it about. And of course our most famous doubter is the one that we've read in the scripture, Thomas. Doubting Thomas. "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were and put my hand into his side, I will not believe it." Was the claim that Jesus had risen from the dead considered to be a preposterous claim? Thomas had seen Jesus whipped almost to the point of death by the soldiers even before he was crucified. He had seen Jesus nailed to that cross. He had seen the spear plunged deep into Jesus' side. He knew that Jesus was sealed in a tomb with a half-ton slab of stones sealing the entrance. Yes, we can understand his uncertainties, I think. But should Thomas have known better? Perhaps. Thomas had seen Jesus do the impossible before. He raised people from the dead, and so it shouldn't have been beyond the bounds of possibility that God's power could have raised God's own Son. Thomas had also grown to know and trust the other disciples during that time they had been together. Shouldn't he have felt able to trust their word now? Are we perhaps tempted to say, "Silly man," to Thomas? Yet as silly as we might think he was, that's not the way Jesus treated him. No, on the contrary, Jesus was very gentle with Thomas. We too should be gentle, not only with Thomas, but with all who struggle with doubts. And that includes ourselves. You see, faith is not certainty. We can't see faith. We can't touch it. We can't feel faith in any tangible way. The New Testament assures us that we are held firmly and lovingly in the hands of our unchanging God, and our faith is and will continue to be shaken at times. Even when we feel that faith is not inside us with conviction anymore, we can recognise in true X-Files tradition that the truth is out there. We can look back to times when we have seen faith in action. We can recall the witness of others, including the witness of biblical records. Let us remember too that outside of the church there are lots of doubting people to minister to. We are called to follow Jesus' example and present the truths of the gospel without berating those who can see. Let us take what we know into the world. Let us help others, not to doubt, but to believe.